Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sparing Partners. I'm Monica Paulin, your host, and today we're going to talk about the evolution of the role of mobile operators. This is something that has attracted a lot of attention, a lot of discussion, and I am honored to have with me Itsuma Tanaka, who is the CEO of DOCOMO Euro-Labs, to get a somewhat different perspective on the topic. And it's excellent to talk to Itsuma because he has clearly experience of the Japanese market, but he's based in Munich right now. So he also understands very well the European environment. So it's particularly interesting to look at both. And I think that in general, in telecoms, we have everybody is looking at their own country naturally. So not just in telecoms, but it really what you learn the most is when you compare what you do to what other people do. And so Itsuma is going to take us to a journey through that, and it's going to be very exciting. Itsuma, welcome to Sparing Partners. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Monica, for having me today.
Yeah, and I've seen you talking many times, so I know who you are and what you do, but for the audience, why don't you tell us what you do? And I know that what I'm going to share with the audience is that on top of being in telecoms, you also are a music player, which is really cool. So anyway, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. So hello, everyone. My name is Itsuma Tanaka. Just call me Itsuma today. I am currently CEO of DOCOMO Euro-Labs. It's an European-based center of excellence in telecom standardization. Okay? It's a part of big entity DOCOMO R&D based in Japan. And we're based in Munich, Germany. And now this month is the perfect season for Biergarten. We love going out. It's a beautiful city. So if you have a chance, please drop by. What we do here in DOCOMO Euro-Labs is mainly an R&D development of 6G, the next generation telecom infrastructure, and the recent development of AI application of artificial intelligence into the network, especially on the virtual network platform, so that a lot of things can be automated and operational excellence within the telecom operation. How can it be improved? And things like this. We are a small company with R&D labs, about 20 people, representing 16 different nationalities. It's super internationally and also technically diverse. We are collectively a small world, as well as we are collectively full stack. So that's what we do. And as for myself, I have been in telecom industry for more than 20 years. And initially I started working in DOCOMO R&D in Tokyo, Japan, but covered 3G, 4G, 5G, and now 6G, 4 different generations of telecom networks. And mainly around standardization, as well as once I was manager in global telecom services like roaming and international voice calls and SMS. Yeah, so like my work has been centered around connecting different worlds with the power of telecommunications. And personally, I'm a proud father of 2 wonderful children, both of whom play rugby. They're rugby players, and myself, I am a band guy. Thanks for the introduction. And yes, I play, like in punk, garage rock kind of, or easy rock music. And also, I practice kendo. That's the martial arts, the Japanese traditional sword fighting as well. Yeah, so that's about me. Thank you.
That's quite interesting. Actually, Japanese swords are absolutely beautiful once you get to see them. Not that I'm an expert at all, but when I was there, I remember looking at them, and with somebody that knew what we were seeing. It's really fascinating. Sorry. So let's get talking about it's World Cup time now. So it's really hard to focus on anything else. And I see you have the right jersey there, but talk about telecoms and operators. So there is a lot of changes, which is more than just 5G and 6G. There is AI, there is automation, there is all those issues about monetizations, which are nothing new, but they're still there and unresolved. How do you see, let's just start the big picture. How do you see the role of mobile operators changing?
Yep.
Or is it changing?
I think it's fundamentally, it's not really changing, but how people see us operators are changing. Yeah, let me explain. Yeah, what's not really changed, first of all, like from the early age of telecommunication, it's about connecting people. Yeah, providing connectivity available to everyone all the time. And that mission stays the same from the very beginning of second generation GSM in the late 1980s, early 1990s. Yeah, so these missions are still the biggest mission of telecom operator, right? 2G, 3G, 4G, that's mobile internet, 5G, IoT comes in, but the mission remains the same. Yeah, connecting everybody or everything around the world and connecting globally. That's the role the mobile operator have been providing, yeah, to everybody across the world as an industry. And recently, I think the change that we see is twofold, let's say. The first one is how profitable with this business model is, yeah, from like investor point of view. We're not as explosively growing as before. Like if a market is coming to maturity, the industry is trying to find like new growth driver, let's say, how we can grow, operate as a business. Yeah. So, and this is a challenge. When smartphone came in, OTT apps, they basically captured the values where operators were previously providing and capturing. That the business ecosystem has changed for the last decade, and it's still there. And so many companies, from the outside, many people see telecom operator just as a connectivity provider, bit pipe. Yeah, so that's one. And the other thing, the role of telecoms are changing really recently with the changes of the world situations. Coming from geopolitics, we see lots of these sovereign discussions and trustworthy solutions and networks. And that's where, not right now, that's I think where operators step in or step up to provide those trusted services as a trusted infrastructure. So the main role, connecting everybody, is everybody remains the same, has remained, will remain, I'm sure. But on top of that, the current world situations and economical situations, new business, digital ecosystems, I think they are putting us telecom operators in a different positioning. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very good starting point. And I think that a key thing is that, yes, you have your basic commitment is the same, but what that commitment means is more. So like the unity when there was 2G was not an issue. Now it is an issue. No. So you have to do more. And yet the kind of growth opportunity is not quite there the way it was before because it's a mature industry. And I think that we have some sort of, in the industry, we have some pain in accepting that. You cannot keep growing at 20% a year, no matter how good you are. It can be a fluke because you're a new operator. So for a year or two, you might be able to, but in general, you cannot. So I think we need to come to terms with that. And do you think that we are sufficiently accepting the fact that growth rates are what they are?
Yeah, many operators, including DOCOMO, are first of all facing the reality. Yeah, so we're not simply chasing the dreams. In a way, accept that business model is changing. There's a severe price war. So connectivity alone, yeah, is not a growth driver. Yes. So, but we have not given up. Yeah, we have not given up. So, like enterprise business solutions or solutions to support the personal daily lives and bring everything together in a vertical way. So, create a digital ecosystem, and that's what we try to do in Japan, at least, and it's showing a steady growth. Yeah, so we have not really given up. What we are facing is just accept the fact that connectivity alone is not competitive as before. But then we are adding lots of new services, solutions on top of it. So as a package around the telecom connectivity, we are trying to grow. And we are growing. So yeah, so it's a mix. It's very difficult to face the reality, but yeah.
Yeah, it's still a good business because nobody's giving up their mobile phone. There is less variability compared to other verticals because
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that would be at any point in time, no matter what happens, connectivity is so important. Now, from a technology point of view, I've been doing a lot of work on the standardization side, technology side. How do you see what is that operators have to do? There is a lot of debate. How quickly basically do you need to innovate? Because innovation is good, but it's also expensive. And so you don't want to innovate more than you have to.
Yeah.
So how do we what are the trade-offs here?
Yeah, so trade-off, not really a trade-off. There are different technology for different purposes, requirements. But as a telecom operator, given the current business climate, we need to do two things. Yeah, the first one, improve operational excellence so that to optimize the current telecom operation businesses. And AI, in this sense, AI is widely deployed already. We do lots of experiments. I think telecom operators around the world are together finding like in really sexy use cases to make that happen. Yeah, to not just in terms of operation, but like optimizing operation and like systems as well. And that's a really important step for the telecom operator as a business to grow, optimization. And yeah, like from managing radio technologies, optimizing it, or running AI agents to find like technical problems, fix it, auto-healing it. So there are a lot of like signs where these AI is providing the real values in our network. So that's the first change I have been observing in the last 6 months. It's so fast, yeah. And the other things, innovations. Let's talk about innovation. So to make a company more profitable, either to approach, yeah. One, reduce cost. Another one, revenue. And innovation comes there as well. So new services, yeah. For example, like in DOCOMO Euro-Labs, we're looking at solutions like in-network computing. That's a new computing platform, allows more an edge kind of services, like where they're like with the 6G, huge bandwidth, when the apps today need more real time, and together with those AI apps, which will require quite a lot of like in bandwidth and capacity. So distribute the computing platforms and provide more smooth service delivery. That's one of the things we're looking. Another thing is like a sensing, network sensing or ISAC. That's a very interesting use case to be deployed to support more society requirements in general. Like in Japan, Japan is a department store of natural disasters, yeah. And sensing, those technology can be used to identify what is broken. Here's people needing rescue, etc., etc. So those use cases, yeah, and like car traffic, safety, and we see a lot of use case in the digital society there. So yeah, those new technologies are expected in the next coming years to become reality and potentially support the importance of telecom operator beyond the traditional connectivity.
Yeah,
so those are a few examples, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to just ask you about ISAC because there's a lot of people in Europe and US are very
Yeah.
suspicious. They don't believe in it. They just say, yeah, there's going to be something about it, but not much. And it seems like in Asia there is much more support for it. Is that your experience?
That's how I see it as well. The difference between Japan and Europe, the biggest difference is I think around the regulations, human rights, personal information, GDPR. I think European is more sensitive about disclosing or to be identified and the personal data and how it is used by maybe by the authority or the companies for business or political purposes. So I think, yeah, but in Japan, Asia in general, we're not as sensitive. Of course, we have human rights as well, but as
Yeah, you don't spend your life beating up people on the street. So
yeah, my country,
well,
Japan, has human rights, of
no,
course, but a different kind of sensitivity, yeah,
yeah,
and different
and I
kind
think
of
that
lines,
yeah.
what you want to submit or not, yeah.
And I think that this is really important because the technology is the same, but the way you adopt the technology and you
Yeah.
accept it as a social, and I
Mhm.
think that at some point is that if you are too strict, you protect too much, and
Mhm.
then you don't use the technology to your advantages. Clearly, there is always a trade-off, but you need to do. I guess that where we put the trade-off is different.
Yeah.
And I guess with sovereignty as well, do you see any major difference with sovereignty with
Ah.
between Japan and Europe, for instance?
We have a similar discussion in Japan as well about sovereignty, but I think what's the word? I think the sovereignty discussion in Europe is more heated than the discussion in Japan. I think it comes from, I think, geopolitical or economical ties with other countries. Yeah, in Japan, or like we are. I don't know if I can say this on this podcast, but please cut it if you think it's too sensitive. But we are more tied to United States historically. Yeah. So although we have some sovereignty questions, economically, technologically, or in terms of like those telecom supply chain, we are fully dependent on the American ecosystem. And the recent development around the politics, Japan, US, our Prime Minister, their President, Mr. Trump, are shaking hands all the time. So we don't have this question. Whereas I think in Europe, it's a big question around NATO, economical ties, Greenland. Can I say this on this podcast? I don't know.
Sure, you can say anything you want.
It's more tense.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Europe. Yeah. So yeah, so Japan is still peaceful, whereas Europe is not as peaceful as Japan. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, no, and I think that those drivers are really important, which is, and I'm glad you raised them because it's easy to just focus on the technology, but the technology is only it only works different ways to you know.
Yeah.
And actually, AI is another issue that there is much more resistance to AI from not from the people in telecoms in general, from society. That's both in US and in Europe. Then I know in China, but what about Japan? It just seems like there is more acceptance among
Yeah.
society.
Yes, we see a lot of use cases which is prohibited in Europe but being used in Japan. Like for example, like an recruitment HR related AI. I think according to EU Data Act, it's like one of the prohibited use cases. Yeah, like screening applications with the help of AI. That's Europe. Whereas in Japan, like I think we're more open-minded about this kind of treatment, like in providing efficiency into the work process. Like Japan is known as one of the longest work hours. We stay from the office from 8 to 10 p.m., go home, sleep, come back to the office again. So it was super unproductive all the paperwork, everything super unproductive. So yeah, AI is like stepping in to help those works. So that's how Japan is trying to accept AIs, yeah, make our life easy.
Yeah.
We give up some of the privacy concerns, but we accept it because we really appreciate how AI, the technology, is making our lives easy in Japan. But whereas I think that Europe is more sticking to that fundamental ideal, if I say it correctly, or the belief or more emphasis on human rights, privacy, the person, the right you have as a person is how it's respected. It's a different approach.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting point you're raising here. Now, let's go back to efficiency and so in your network, you can be more efficient and reduce costs, or you can offer more services and make more money.
Yeah.
How do you strike the balance between the two? Because you might not be able to do both at the same time. Or at least you need to, or maybe you just need to do both and that's it.
As of right now, that's an excellent question, by the way. As of right now, we don't really find the balance yet. We haven't been able to define this is the right balance yet. And because this is still in a very early phase of technology adoption in the network, yeah. So at the moment, we're working on every front line, yeah, from cost reduction, from network quality improvements, as well as in doing AI data-driven marketing services together with connectivity. That's the enterprise services we're providing, enterprise solutions, and of course the office AI. We're testing, doing everything hands-on right now to see basically how much gains we get, returns on the investment, cost and return balance. Yeah, so we're doing experiment phase, and the experiment is everywhere now.
Yeah, but it is actually a difficult. You have to make difficult choices, and especially because you're dealing with vendors who are trying to sell everything. Obviously, I'm not criticizing them. Obviously, that's their job. But there is just so much technology that you can use, and you have to decide what's worth spending on, given that any operator has a fixed amount of money.
Yeah. So I think we have to make hard decisions based on the priorities, in the competitive landscape. If operator focuses more on network coverage quality, that's where the company will focus on. Maybe forget about office AI or innovative new services. Or if that's not the problem for you, they will probably invest on new services maybe, or office. Yeah. So it really depends on the context. But in DOCOMO's case, I think we see a lot of focus today on the network improvements at the moment, because the impact, the leverage is huge. Look at telecom operator in general. Like majority of the cost is coming from radio networks, RAN, number of base stations, how much electricity they're using, and the cost of the real properties of the etc. And applying AI onto it, manage it, optimize it. That's where it's basically generating the biggest gains as far as I can see. I
think that this is absolutely spot on, because you look at it, it's like you want to see what's the biggest cost, where is the biggest inefficiencies, and a lot of the RAN is not as efficient. Well, it is as efficient as it used to be able to, but AI makes it much more possible to do more. Now, can we talk about competition? If we had this discussion, say 10, 15 years ago, and we talk about competition, what we'd be talking would be other mobile operators. You'd be competing against them. But I think that right now, correct me if I'm wrong, you probably feel like the competition is not, it's obviously coming from other operators, but it's also coming from hyperscalers, app providers. So basically, the users out there have so much disposable income, so much money they can spend on connectivity services. And the percentage of that kind of money is limited. So we are obviously competing with other operators, but the main competition in terms of launching new services is coming from other players. So is that true, and how do you look at it?
Yes, absolutely. Every layer of the services that we're providing, every solutions, there is always a competitor. So can I maybe share example, yeah?
Sure.
Connectivity alone, the traditional competitor was other MNO. In Japan, DOCOMO, KDDI, SoftBank, Rakuten, 4 operators are there. They are traditional competitor. But now, satellites, for example, Starlink come in, and it's a partner at the same time, could be a potential competitor. So it's a mix, yeah? We work with them, of course, but at the same time, if they have direct services on our connectivity, then we may see them as a competitor, yeah? And of course, services, the platforms, hyperscalers, we rely a lot of them for hosting our network infrastructure. So like they are partner. But again, at the same time, if we want to run a cloud services or data center business, they can be a competitor. And other OTT services as well. We build lots of OTT apps, and obviously, like voice apps, messaging apps, banking apps, or video streaming, etc., etc. Those, it's a bunch of big major players, and it's really interesting to see really harsh, really strong competition there in the industry. Yeah, so like it's a mix. Yeah, but like there's always a partner, competitor in all different layers of the telecom business. It's so complex today.
Is there a risk that you get marginalized, that they basically take over and you're confined to just do basic connectivity?
Yeah, there's always a decision, but again, the basic connectivity alone, then what we will see is basically just price war today. So it's not as profitable as business, so like we need some vertical setup, yeah? Sorry, what was your question? Sorry, I missed your question maybe.
Yeah, if there is a risk that you get marginalized and all these sort of partners are basically doing everything and you're basically not, it's very hard to grow, like enterprise or satellite or something like that.
Yeah, but so the strategy today, yeah, like around all the telecom operator is not just focusing on connectivity. They also always want to expand into more like value-added services. So yeah, so just going connectivity alone, it's not a good idea today. It's not seen as a really good idea today unless you really come up with full AI native telecom operations so that your profitability of running a network is super high.
Yeah, so in terms of, so clearly AI is very good for improving efficiency.
Yeah.
How good is it for driving new revenues?
New revenues. We are still experimenting. AI services alone, or like this LMM services, I think American big techs are already providing lots of like more like amazing services, yeah, from like in daily chat questions, chat GPT, Claude, etc., etc. It's already there. So what we are trying to do is I think most telecom operators don't want to become like them, or maybe they want to become like them, but the competition is too obvious. The result looks like kind of obvious. So like what telecom operators seem to be doing is work with them to provide new services that combine the telecom strength, the information that we have, plus those AI capabilities to create value. Like for example, in Japan, what we do is this data-driven marketing solutions. Like we, of course, upon consent of the customers, we collect information about our daily activities. Yeah, of course, anonymized in a safe way. And then like this customer goes to this, likes this, etc., like based on the like shopping list on our DOCOMO platform, etc., right? And then so that like local retail shops, brick and mortar shops can do the advertisement to the right customer, and that's where we get the values out of it. So that's data AI driven, but we don't really run our own AI. We work with like an external big tech. And other example would be even like a personalized chatbot as well. On that, I think we're using our own LLM, but yeah, like in something value added to your daily lives to support or using AI data that we collect or directly or indirectly from our customers. So for those ones, the second one, the revenue, it's really new, so we need to wait and see how it goes. But for those digital marketing solutions as such, it's showing a steady growth. It's good.
Yeah. Now, let's just try not to talk about AI, which is difficult.
Yeah.
But if we, so basically we have AI, it's built in everything you're going to add,
Yeah.
which is fine. But if we abstract from that, what are the other directions that you think are going to be useful other than AI in adding or automation? Is standalone, 6G? What are the key opportunities there for innovation?
Resilient. Let me talk about maybe resiliency demanded by the society today and the future. Before it was just people-to-people communication, messaging. Yeah, so people could wait, but now it's together with Internet of Things, IoT. It's fully integrated part of our society. Yeah, so like more demand is coming onto us telecom operators to keep working, keep running, no disruptions, so that we support the people supporting the society. You know what I mean? So 6G, the fundamental requirements, I think, must come towards 6G is how can we improve our network in terms of operation, architecture, protocols, so that it's robust and up all the time, and yet it's super optimal in terms of operational excellence. So like in terms of that, there's a new architecture discussion, 3GPP going on to simplify the network, reduce like a possibility of network failure, also coming from like virtualization, the network, Open RAN, vRAN, using AI together, of course, to how to improve the network resiliency in general. And I think that that's a big change could be introduced in the leap from 5G. That's what I expect to see.
This is actually interesting because resilience is something that, again, 10 years ago, nobody would talk about resilience. No. You either take it for granted or not, but it was not like, but now people start talking about it.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's nothing new, but it's a new emphasis on it. So how do we improve resilience? Because it's not, when you think about it, it was like how much capacity and speed, actually, not even capacity, it would be speed. That would be the whole thing that people cared about. Then there was latency. But now increasingly people talk about resilience. How do we improve resilience?
Two aspects. Yeah. So the first one, prepare before something happens. So this means introducing additional redundancy. So like we see like satellites is a great way to complement the ground network and the network in the sky to provide good redundancy to our network. And the response, when we mean resiliency, things can break. Base station can break, the core network can break. How quickly we can fix it's a technological challenge. If it's physically broken, then of course those prepared satellites can step in and provide the second coverage. But if we see the virtualization, the healing, how quickly we can fix identify and fix the problems, Before human beings were doing it, but now together with the AI, it's so much easier and gives better performance. Yeah, so that's what I expect to see. And architecture must change to be more optimal for those AI-driven network operation use cases to be more resilient.
Yeah. And I guess that what you're saying, I think it underlines something very important, that resilience is not so much of adding a new air interface. So 6G is not the improvement in the air interface itself. It's a network-wide effort.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a network
to
wide.
ensuring that you have resilience rather than so much in new technologies, how you combine the new technologies together.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And the telecom system is super complex. It's like 30, 40 years old network, adding a lot of features and protocols on top of it. So it's super complex today. And how we can simplify this, like you including the device, yeah, the protocol from the device, your smartphone, and the network, how we can really simplify or make it even more robust. That's also another challenge, yeah. But yes, the question has been floating around all the time. But yeah, extra emphasis here and more demand for a stronger network is really demanded today. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this will develop in standardization like 3GPP or even new architecture for the future. Yeah, it's a very important question, I think.
Now I'm going to ask you a final question. You mentioned simplification, and clearly you want to have a simpler networks if you can, but on the other hand, introduces more complexity. We have 6G is going to be more complexity because we have yet another G. So how do we balance simplicity and complexity?
We need to simplify the network because new complexity is coming. That's how I always explain it.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yes, if the network is simpler, it's easier to adapt new technologies. And we need to care so that we can care less about like backward compatibility, like number of tests required. If the base is simple, you can add more easily than adding something on, let's say, a Sagrada Familia of the telecom network. Yeah, so to add new things, the base foundation must be super simple.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And we'll see what happens to make networks more resilient and simpler while using AI. So you have a lot of work ahead of you.
Yeah,
and very exciting one. So, and thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. Thank you for the great time, Monica. Have a nice day.
Thank you, you too. And thank you to all for listening to us. Keep listening to us and let other people know about Aspiring Partners.